everyone, Mrs. Red here. It's Thursday night again, and it's my drawing night. So I've turned this drawing night into something that others can enjoy as well. If you're wanting to learn to draw, or you just need someone to help you along and draw with, company-wise, then you've come to the right place. So this is every Thursday night at 7:30. I'm actually a little bit early tonight. I'm 10 minutes early, so I hope you don't mind. I just was ready to go, so I thought, why not? So I will flick over to the webcam, which is this right here. I will not knock myself in the face with it. And we will get started on tonight's drawing, which is the picture of the eyes that you can see at, should be your top left of your screen. So I'll change the camera over. There we go. And I'll just bring up my chat channel as well, just so I can see if anyone joins and wants to say hello. Make sure that you are registered or subscribed to YouTube with a Gmail account so that you can actually interact with me. You need to do that as well to like any videos on YouTube. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure that you do subscribe to YouTube. All right, so what you can see in front of you now is the printout that everyone on the database gets. So there's 5 different sets of eyes looking at you there. This one here is the one that I drew for the example. So there it is there. It's looking a little bit yellow. I'm hoping that it's going to, oh, no, I'm looking, might be okay. Yeah, it really sort of like jumps up as I put that. Excuse me, I've just got to tuck my chair in a little bit more. I guess this paper is not white, so you can see that it is an off-white. So that's why it does look a little bit not as bright. So the paper that I'm using again is the bamboo. Bamboo, I think it's about 80% bamboo and 20% cotton. It's quite a textured surface. I don't know if you can tell by looking at those eyes there. I haven't used the little paper blender, pencil blender. And the other thing I find that this camera does is make it a little bit harsher than it is as well. I think I was going to fix something on that last week and I didn't. So last week we did mouths, and I've still got my example of mouths sitting there. And then the week before was noses. So I was doing a couple of different drawings for those nights, but tonight it will just be the one. Now, the one that I have chosen to do, I really wanted to do this one, but she is on a little bit of an angle, which means my book will have to be turned around a lot, and I have got the hardcover up against the tripod. So because she has her face tilted a little bit, I just have to move the book around a bit to make sure that I get the angle correct. So I wasn't going to go for her. Now, the reason I was going to go for her is because you can tell she's smiling and her eyes are closed quite a lot. This other lady up the top here, another good example of eyes that are not like really wide open. My husband has the eyes like this, where the eyelid actually falls over the top. So again, I wanted to do her, but then I thought this one that I did as the example, and the one that I'm going to do tonight, which is the one below, really shows if you haven't drawn eyes before and you're here to learn how to draw the human eyes, then this is the best example for me to use for a first video. So it'd be nice to come back to, say, this one, or maybe even do a recorded video and put it up of this one where I don't have to be so restricted by this little webcam. So if I'm doing a video that I will upload myself, I use my camera, and I can set the tripod up very differently with the camera. All right, so I'm using the Staedtler Mars Lumograph pencils tonight. So I have got the whole set out, which is, gosh, there's probably about 20 pencils in front of me here. This one I did with 3B and 6B. And as soon as I was using the 6B, you could really tell the difference between the two. So may or may not stick to that tonight. I'm just going to put my reference in front of me there. I have to get myself a bit comfortable here. I've got my kneadable eraser, my paper stump. Actually, it's actually written on, I've got cat hair on it. It's actually written on there that it does say paper stump. So there are different names for these. There's pencil blender, paper blender, paper stump. I don't think it's a pencil stump. So they're really good to have as well if you can get your hands on one of them. And then, yeah, I've just got different weights. So I used the 3B and the 6B for this one. So I might go the 2B and maybe the 5B. I wonder if I should go a bit of, I kind of don't want to use HB because it's such a common pencil to use. Maybe I will do the drawing up with the HP and see how we go and try and get a couple more pencils in. Oh, the choice that I have. I do have a normal eraser lying around as well. Also a Staedtler. I'm not sponsored by Staedtler, but that just happens to be the eraser that I had in front of me. This one here is a Faber-Castell. The Faber-Castell kneadable eraser. That one is quite old, and they just don't, I don't know, they don't age. You can use them forever. All right, so let's get started. So with drawing eyes, there's a couple of things. All art teachers are going to draw them differently. That's the first thing you need to know. I do have a YouTube video. I'm pretty sure I do. I know I put it on Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, on TikTok, of drawing one human eye. And it wasn't using a reference. So this is a little bit different in that we are using a reference, and you can see that everyone's eyes are different. When it comes to drawing both eyes, and the eyes when they are looking directly at you, and we're going to say that this one is looking directly at us. She's a little bit to the side, but not enough to make a difference, whereas he is a little bit more. So what I'm about to say, you'll be able to see is a little bit different with this one. So with the human face, I'm not going to get into the details of the proportions and everything, but when it comes to the eyes, there's actually around 5 eyes across the face. So you've got your 2 eyes here. You've also got an eye in the middle. So the width of the eye from here to here usually will be the width between the 2 eyes. And then the other 2 eyes, and she is slightly looking, her head is slightly, which way would it be? To the left, to our right. And I don't think any of them are looking exactly at the camera. You have another eye here, and the 5th eye this side. But because she is a little bit tilting one way, we're losing the full eye this side, and we're gaining a little bit more on this side. So that's the biggest thing that you need to keep in mind when you're drawing from scratch without using a grid. That's the easiest way to know where these eyes are going to be, because you've pretty much got the distance between the two. Now, if we look at this guy, he has got more of a face lean happening, and he just seems to not have that 3rd eye there in the middle. the gap just doesn't seem to be there. So there's always exceptions. Some people have a wider gap. But if you actually, when you're out in public next, actually have a look at people's faces and see if they've got a third eye in the middle. Don't worry about the outsides because that's too hard when you're looking from life. And some people, or when you're watching the news, that's a good one. When you're watching TV and you're watching, say, the news where the person is facing the camera, if their face looks out of proportion at all, check out the eyes and just see whether or not they are further apart or a little bit narrow as such. But all of these examples, apart from him, is pretty much got that third eye in the middle. So that's the main thing that you need to focus on. Now I just need to get my sheets of paper underneath. I've put them away. I put them back in my drawer. I was cleaning up and I saw these loose sheets. Now this paper, because it is a little bit thinner, you can see straight through there. If you have I think it's 105 GSM. If you have a sketchbook that is similar, it's a good idea just to put some print paper down underneath it so that you don't press down on the next page at all. Now my reference photo, let me see if I can tuck it into there. You've got, I'll bring that reference photo up a little bit as well because you can not have, no, I'll do it now. Don't want it to go over the top of my drawing. We'll go to about there. How's that? I wonder if I should move it down the bottom. No, we'll leave it up the top. Now, if you have subscribed to the website, which is in the description of this video, you receive this sheet of the eyes on the Wednesday evening. And then you can download it and join me for a drawing session. I've got a mark in there. All right, let's get started. So that was the first rule, to think that you've got to imagine that third eye in between. Now, when it comes to drawing the eye is not flat. So I'm going to show you how I draw up an eye. To start with, you don't need to look at your reference. And this is actually, that's just going to hit right where I need it to go. Okay, I'm using my HB pencil and I've got both my erasers ready there. Okay, so with her, we'll probably draw a bit bigger than the actual printout as well. I'm just wanting to see how far down. I think I'll allow myself a lot of room here, so I probably won't do another one. So we're starting the first eye, and it starts with a circle, full circle, nice and lightly, so you can get that nice full circle happening. And start on the side that is not your dominant side. So for me, I'm a right-handed, so I'm drawing the left side first. There we go. We've got the circle there. That's going to be her eyeball. It's actually going to end up being smaller than him. That's all right. Now in there, we draw the pupil. Pupil is always there. It's always in the center. Doesn't matter which way the person is looking, the pupil will remain in the center. I should have brushed up on my eye terminology so I know which is the iris and which is the cornea. Okay, so we're only doing the one at the moment because we don't have anything else to base ourselves on for that other eye. So once we've got what looks like a donut, that's when we start to put the shape of that eye in. So with her, I picked her because she's got really, really open eyes. Okay, so we've got those guides to now put this eyelid into the shape of the eye. Kind of want to, I'm just going to bend my sheet over because it's a bit too far up if I tuck it under that piece of paper. There we go. That's better. Okay, so you can start anywhere with this. You can see that the bottom of the eye comes straight under her eye. And is just a nice little semicircle. Draw lightly because some of this will get erased. Now with the top of her eye, we're actually going to just cut the top of her eye off. I'm going to come down to around here. Forgot to set my phone. I've done a lot of chatting to start with. How are we going? 16 minutes. Good job I started early. Yep, so I want to get this done within the hour, which I should be able to do. Although I can't count the first 16 minutes. And then follow that shape over there. I can hear the damn football on the TV and I reckon he's turned it up. I'm sure he's turned it up. It's a lot louder tonight. I should yell out to him like a nagging wife. All right. So there we have now the full eye with the eyelids. And we can sort of put in that section there. Now, we could go on and try and do this eye now. I'm not going to. I want to do a little bit more detail here, map it out a little bit more before I attack that other eye. So we're going to put in the shadow, which I'm going to have to remove a bit of the pupil there because it will remain white. Not the shadow, our highlight. Our highlight jumps in on the pupil there. That was the other thing that I had to find was quite natural photography that didn't have like light rings because the eye will pick up the light source. So I wanted it to be quite natural and I wanted the women to not be wearing makeup. Now she is wearing makeup, but it's very light and it was quite skin toned, the eyeshadow that she had on. She's just got a little bit of mascara on. So I've just done the highlight there and I can go straight ahead in my 5B and put that pupil in. So that is the way that it doesn't matter which set of eyes you're drawing, it's where they're all different, no one's eyes are alike, is how I teach people how to do a human eye, is to put the full circle in, then shape in the eyelid. All right, now I'll go back to, I tend to want to actually do the other eye now, just for the example of it. So when we're looking at the third eye in the middle, you're really looking at, like, look at your reference, see where things are. This eye is slightly larger than this eye because she is looking not straight at the camera. But between here and here is pretty much the space of another eye. You could measure it. Well, I measured it like that. It's going to end up from that tip to there. It's the start of the U. From that tip, oh gosh, from that tip, it's a long way off. It's a long way off. If I was to do that, I'm looking at out here. I'm going to go with that. That worries me. So if that's going to be the start of her eye there, where did I do that from? I'm measuring the end of the pencil and the L. Oh, you can see that on the camera there. Okay, so from the end of the pencil to the U or the L. So then for here, that would be out to, I've still cut it in. So that would be saying that the next eye starts there. So if that's the case, I just want to make sure that there is going to be shadow. From here out to here is going to be shadow. And then there's going to be another light shadow there. I think that's too far. So I'm just going to use my better judgment. This paper doesn't like rubbing out too well. And go with what my gut instinct of the eye is. And go about there. That's what I did with the other one, that one up there. So, and I think I got it pretty right. I've done a lot of eyes in my time. So I'm going to go from there. Okay. So we're going to say that's that little bit in there. Now the other thing that I'm going to lightly do is just draw a line, just really lightly, just so I can see the diameter of that pupil. Because you want your eyes to be the same size. Absolutely. And you need to do this little bit before you rub that bit out. So that's kind of why I did want to do this second eye first before I start adding in detail. Now I feel like I've actually gone too far. I've overstepped. No, I haven't. So it should look all right. All right, so we've got that other eye in there. Unfortunately, her eyes are very straight. Her head isn't tilted at all, giving her that slant. And then again, putting that pupil in the middle there. And then the reflection actually doesn't, it just goes right on the edge. I'm going to text my husband and tell him to turn it down because I reckon you can probably hear it. There we go. Let's see if he... I know he's got his phone in his hand. There we go. So I can now go ahead Oops, I actually am getting a bit keen here. Haven't done the outline of the eye. Okay, that looks kind of odd, doesn't it? Now, I don't know if you can hear my music at all. I've just turned it up. I've just got YouTube playing, just a chill mix. All right, now I'll go back to my HB and we'll get the shape of this eye in. So we're going to be cutting off the top of the eye again. There. Gets quite dark as it moves away. There's a lot of eyelash that's going to be in that way too. And right on the bottom of that eye there. Keep looking at your reference. Make sure you're always looking at your reference when you're drawing up a drawing. It's very easy to think you know what you're drawing, and then all of a sudden it looks nothing like what you were meant to draw. I feel like that's too loud now. I'll turn it down a bit. All right, I am going to be rubbing out that bit and that bit there soon. I just need to get the eye working for me. Now these little tear duct areas have to be around the same. Just get rid of those marks there. And that one is just not as defined as the other one. Might be because she is just slightly looking one way, like her head is angled one way. So it's just a little bit lighter to draw. All right, there we go. So I can now remove the top of the eyeball on both eyes. There we go. And I can start to do all the shading and everything. I guess I could map out where the eyelids. I've never actually done this as a recorded drawing before. So with the first example that I did, I just went all over the place. I'm trying to remember that I'm actually showing others how to do this. There should be some method to how we get to the end result. So she has some really nice eyelids. Just have to move around a bit here. Draw lightly so that you can just map it all out, and if something doesn't look right, then you've got the chance to be able to rub it out. Now that eye is looking a lot smaller than that eye, as in the width of it, but it actually is as well. And the shadows will demonstrate that as we go along. Let me just have a quick sip here. I've got cider tonight. I've already had my first glug, so you won't hear it. And now I'm going to get comfortable in starting with the actual pupil of the eye. I mean, not the pupil. What's it called? Is it the cornea? The iris? Maybe it's the iris. I'm not sure. I should have, like I said, I should have brushed up. So I'm now, and I need to speed up because you know, if you've watched me draw before, you know I am a slow drawer. So I really want to speed things along here. Actually, I haven't done the bottom of the eyelid. Just go back to the HB. So when I say the bottom of the eyelid, the actual where the skin hits the eyeball, there is a little section there where it's just very moist skin, doesn't touch. It's not where the eyelashes grow. Need an optometrist to join and tell me all these bits and pieces. If you know the areas that I'm talking about and don't know the actual name, please say it in the chat. Make sure if you are watching this that you say hello, tell me where you're watching from. Doesn't matter if you're not watching the live. I don't know whether you can see those lines down the bottom there. They're very faint, but they did need to be added. Probably not so much. I went a bit low there. That will all join up. Okay. Right, so I'm going to start, change to the 2B. Just shade the eyeball. I'm just going to call it the eyeball. You know what I'm talking about. Shade it in lightly first because it's always easier to darken things than it is to lighten things up. I'm not using my drawing glove tonight either because I'm not using a lot of space for this drawing. Okay. It's amazing what the little highlight does for the effect that we're going for. It's not as bright as the first set of eyes that I did, so I might have to put a little bit of tone into it at some stage. My own eyes are feeling a little bit tired today. So I'm just gradually adding a little bit more depth and shading to the eye. I keep looking straight at my reference photo, not putting in any of the fine detail as yet. Oh, I really don't think he listened to or read my text message to him. Because I can hear that football. Maybe he'll go to bed early though, like he usually does. All right, I'll leave that one and I'll go to the other one and do the same thing. So just start by lightly drawing the eye in. This one seems to be a little bit darker as well, hasn't got the light hitting it as much. Using the 2B pencil. She even has her eyelashes reflected in the little highlight. I didn't use the paper stamp on the first set of eyes, so I'm not too sure whether I will use it again tonight. It wasn't because I tried not to, it's just I just didn't feel I needed to. It's just a layer process, this type of sketching. You do not go in hard. When it comes to drawing, you do not go in hard. Slow and steady wins the race on this. It is harder to remove dark areas, and that goes for painting as well. And it's very natural to be afraid to go too dark as well. I certainly feel quite intimidated by dark areas. I feel like I've almost gone a little bit too dark with that eye. Okay, back to this one again. I'm going to start on the white of the eye. Really lightly. Should almost go back to my HB pencil for this. The very last thing that we do is the hair. So the eyelashes and the eyebrows are the very, very last thing that you do. And then the eye will really pop. And it's very quick as well. It took me about an hour to do the example drawing that I did for the night, the thumbnail. And yeah, when it came time to do the eyelashes and the eyebrows, it was done in a couple of minutes. How did I do his eyes? Quite dark. Okay. All right. I feel like I'm going too dark there, so I'm getting my kneadable out and just taking a bit of that graphite back off. There is a bit of a dark rim around the eyeball. There we go. It's very true what art teachers will say to you if you are drawing a face. Doesn't matter if it's a dog's face or a human's face. I mean, an animal's face, I should say. If the eyes are not correct, then there's no point continuing, because it's just natural for us as humans to look straight at the eyes in a painting or drawing. And it doesn't matter if those eyes are human or animal. If the eyes don't come together, then you may as well stop. So practicing different eyes, doing little studies of just everyone's different shaped eyes is a really, really good exercise to do. Now, in regards to my bug situation, because I had a bit of a bug situation going on last week, I have not closed the door because it's still not cool enough to have the door closed. But I have blocked the door with a towel, so only the bottom of the door is open. I don't have a screen on this door, and I think I'm falling on deaf ears when I keep telling my husband that I'd like to invest in a screen for this door, because I don't have a window in this. I do have a window, but I've never had it open, and they're timber, so it's jammed shut. And last week, at the end of the session, I was absolutely bombarded by bugs. Had a really big bug come in, which is not ideal because my house cleaner comes every second Thursday. So I had a lovely clean office, and then it was littered in bugs by Friday morning, because they can't get back out and they die. They die that night. It's terrible. And the reason I've got the door open is A, because I just need the air, but two, because of the cat. The cat dominates. She gets upset if I don't have the door open so that she can come and go. And I'm yet to get the chair that I want to be drawing on, which will be rolly wheels, and you won't be able to hear me moving as much. At the moment, this chair will scrape on the tiles and make a horrible sound. Okay, so now I'm just starting the shading of the eyelid and where the bridge of the nose meets. Just doing a nice light shading to start with. My son has just arrived home. That was a very quick dinner that he had. Went over to his girlfriend's for dinner tonight, but he only left an hour ago. I'm sure it was only an hour ago. Maybe a bit longer. She's got great features, this girl. All the images come off the Unsplash website, royalty-free photography. I do mention all of their names on the PDF that gets sent out, in no particular order. Now, I'm not going to go for the eyebrows yet. Well, I could actually map them out where they're going. I'll do that much. Kind of need to know that. And then I'll actually go into that eyebrow and start shading it, because we don't want it to be white underneath. And that will go off to about there. Just use your eye to guide you where things go, like these eyebrows. So I'm not going to do any more to that eyebrow yet. She has plucked her eyebrows because I can see a few little short hairs. So they're fairly neat. Fairly neat as in, unlike the guy that I drew last night. He had more natural, actually didn't really have much hair in eyebrow in between the eyes. Not probably like old mate below this one. He was quite hairy. Oh yeah, he's got hair going in there. For sure. Now, the bottom of this eyebrow almost is straight. Similar, it goes out to about there. There we go. So it's very, very faint for you to see that. I have a feeling one eye looks bigger than the other eye. If that's the case, I might just bring this eye The beauty of doing the drawing that I did as the example, the one that's above, is that I was able to move away and come back to it, whereas tonight I'm sort of just sitting drawing and you don't get fresh eyes on it. Okay, so because I have done that, I won't need to edit anything there. I'll just bring this down. Actually, I will need to just pick up. Okay, so I'm making that eyeball just a little bit wider. And because the eyelid does fall below this eye, I just need to correct the shape. So that there. So that will come, what am I using? HB. Okay, so we've got it right underneath there. And then that inner bit there. There we go. It's a little bit dark now, that line. Beauty of the kneadable eraser. Just point it into a little, tiny little thin area. and gently dab. Okay, so I'll swap back to the 2B. How does that look? That looks better. Much better. All right, so yeah, I'm starting to just work all over the place now. We've got the main areas down, so it is really just shading that we're working on now. I'm going to try and use the 2B for most of this drawing, and then I'll use the 5B just to darken areas. How am I going time-wise? Oh, great, 25 minutes to go. Goodness me. And there's some highlighty bits there too, so I want to just keep that quite white. My husband has been training for an Ironman, which is this weekend. So normally he would be going to bed quite early tonight because he'd be getting up to go training, but he's getting up to leave to head down the coast for this Ironman. So I'm a bit worried that he might stay up and watch this football match. Oh, I feel like I'm gaining some ground when I shade in an area as fast as that. If you're watching this live or playback afterwards and you do have any questions at all, please drop them in the chat because I will respond to you. Hopefully you can't hear the football in the background. You shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't even really be able to hear the YouTube music on because of the microphone. Just work away slowly at all the shading areas. Keep looking at your reference and just get darker as you go along. You never really need to press hard with a pencil. You just change to a different weight. I have to say these are probably one of my most favourite pencils of all time, these Lumigraphs. And the Faber-Castell 9000s. That's the other ones that I really like. I actually had Staedtler. I don't know if it was Staedtler US or I don't think it was Australian. Actually, like one of my like my post from last week on Instagram. So that was pretty nice. Didn't know that they were watching as they were. Feel free to contact me, Stadler. Okay, trying very hard to work quickly here. Have a quick sip. Can't beat a cider. I'm on the Bulmers cider tonight, the Irish one. Have to be my favourite Irish cider, I think. Okay. There are some little highlights just in there. I'm not going to really worry too much about them. They're just too fine for the process of like the example of what I'm doing tonight. We've got a little highlight going in there as well, so I'll just leave that very, very lightly drawn. There's a little bit there as well. Just got to be careful, got to keep looking at your reference. Because those little highlights will matter. Under here. Can't believe there's only 20 minutes to go to the hour. Takes me a little bit of time to get into a drawing though. I almost have to start the drawing half an hour before I hit record. You can feel the texture of this paper again now that I'm just applying a little bit more pressure. Quite toothy, not smooth, not rough, but just not as smooth as, say, a 120 GSM cartridge paper would be. Now, Just lightly filling in this area, just shading very, very lightly, very crisscrossy. Making sure I don't put my hand on that other eye. How does that look? Oh, it's very light, very, very light. It's amazing that I was thinking that I was doing dark here, and that's just covered straight in, which is fine. Might just come back under here. It's looking very, very light on the screen, but you do have to start light and then build, which I will start doing here now. I'm going to keep that little bit of highlight just above the eye where the eyelid starts. I don't want to fill that in too dark. I will be adding a lot more darkness to it. I just need to get everything mapped out. Got a lot of eyelash sitting there, which we won't worry about because that will go dark when I put the eyelashes in. I've got someone who's left a message. Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Kelly. I draw so slow. So if you're drawing slower than me, then that makes me feel good because I am so horrendously slow. I'm not sure if you started at the beginning when I sort of explained the whole third eye thing, and how you get to the shape of the eyes. Every art teacher teaches differently. We all have our own way. How are we going? Make sure I get this shading straight down and not on an angle. Okay, I'll come under this eye, and then when I start to do the eyebrows, I may get my spare piece of paper out to just make sure that I don't smudge this area here. Yeah, because I do not want to smudge that area. For those that are drawing along, make sure that you just keep looking at your reference picture. It's so important, and I'll say it every time I draw. You'll hear me say it. It will be my biggest quote, is that we're not drawing eyes. We'll end up with eyes, but we're not drawing eyes. We're drawing shapes, shadows, lines, texture, highlights. If you draw the eyes, if you sit there and look at it and go, I know what eyes look like, and not keep looking at your reference photo, it will not come out the same. And I'll one day invest in another camera so that there's a camera on me, or I'll work out how to get the desktop camera to be on me at the same time, so that you can actually see that I am forever looking at my reference photo. It's easy tonight because it's right in front of me. Normally it's off to the side. It's a nice little dark outline bit there. Yeah, it's right above me, above the sketch tonight, so that does make it easy on me. But my eyes are on the reference photo just as much as I'm looking at the drawing. When you were explaining the third eye, okay, yep, it has never occurred to me to start the eye from the eyeball before. So far, these are the best eyes. Oh, beautiful! That's awesome. Yeah. Well, it's not. It's the eye is a 3D object, and it is in an eye socket. So you've got to be really careful not to create a flat shape. So that's why it's good to draw the full circle, and then shape the eye over the top of it. Oh, that's so good to hear. Is this Kelly? Is this Swimming Kelly? Let me know. Or maybe it's another Kelly out there. Let's see my time. I've got 6 minutes. So I've got to be careful not to have the alarm go off at me, which it will do. And scare me as it does. I'm not going to finish in 6 minutes. Don't think I'm going to do that on you. It's just that I just try my hardest to keep these things to an hour. It's actually looking not too bad. I don't know how far I want to go down. I didn't go too far down with him. He was straight under the eyes. So maybe I should sort of stop along the bottom there. Darker there. Artie's swimming, Kelly. Oh, you're beautiful. Make sure you show me your results. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a spare piece of paper, fold it in half. So if you are at risk of drawing over your drawing, so I've drawn this area here and now I'm going to head up here. I am going to touch that with my hand. So best to just grab a piece of paper, clean paper, or paper towel and just put down over there so that, so that you don't smudge your artwork. Now with here, I'm just going to shade this in because the under part of the eyebrows is not stark white. It does get a bit lighter here, so I'll go a little lighter along here. But we've got some real blacks in the middle there, so we can afford to actually put that in. I haven't actually used the 5B pencil at all yet, which is interesting because when I was drawing up the guy's eyes the other night, I was back and forth with the 6B. Okay, so we've just done in that there. I almost feel like I want to use that 5B now. I'm just going to do the same to this side. I will, what will I use? Probably, might even use a 6B or an 8B for the actual hair. Just lighten it up as I go along here. It doesn't have to be neat because there is going to be all these little hairs that form along there. Now I might just lightly, this bit I can darken later. I just want to go above the eyebrow ever so slightly. It's quite a highlight just there, so I've got to be careful. Kelly, do you have a kneadable eraser like this one here? I'll put it down there. If you haven't got one of them, let me know. And I'll get one to you because I believe it's probably a drawer's best friend is the kneadable eraser. Okay. All right, I think I might start using a little bit of the 5B now, just to get serious with these darks, because there's quite a lot. There we go. Looks like I've applied eyeliner to her. I'm just going to grab my cider, put it on the other side of the table. There we go. There's the hour up, which doesn't include the 16 minutes of chatting before I got started. So really what the stage I'm at now is just darkening areas, getting ready for putting in the eyelashes and eyebrows. So getting towards the end of this drawing, which is nice to know. I might actually jump to the 4B. I think going to the 5B was going a little bit too much of a jump. Just really focusing on areas now that just need that little bit of extra darkness put to them. I don't have one. My husband has stolen all my pencils and erasers, working with limited stuff. That is fine, Kelly. I will sort you out. Absolutely not a problem. Damn husbands, I tell you. Now I've got to get into this side here. So I've moved to the 4B now, left the 2B behind because I need to get serious about some areas that need to be darker. Not applying really any more pressure than what I had on the other pencils, but I have gone darker, so it is going to be a darker. It's a lot easier to go over areas and just make them a little bit darker. Doesn't take half as much work as when you're initially putting down the pencil. And I really do struggle to go dark. I always have, and I think I always will. This probably looks quite light on the screen. It is darker than what it's looking like. But yeah, it's just that fear that you can always go darker, and find it very hard. The 4B's feeling quite rough as well, a bit like the 5B was on the first drawing I did. I am tempted to use the paper stump, but if I do, I have to use it over all of it. So I will leave that for a little bit longer. Every time I look at it, I can see darker areas. Okay. Get into that eye too. Okay, there we go. A little bit more dark now. I will add, excuse the cat, just scratching at a little mat just then, if you could hear that. I'm just going to add a little bit, very, very lightly, back into this highlight, because her eyelashes are actually reflected in it. I might attack it a little bit more with the pencil I use for the eyelashes. All right. Pretty much can, or what am I using? 2B. There we go. So that eye, I feel, is fairly ready for eyelashes now. Just add a bit more dark into there. All right. And then I'll just come back over to this one. I haven't added any of the 4B pencil to the shading here, so I'm just going to go over and add a bit. I think he might have turned down that football. Doesn't sound as loud. Now, those tiny little specky highlights in this part of her eyelid, I'm not going to worry about either. For the purpose of the exercise, it is just not going to make a difference. But the light source is definitely on the viewer's left of her face, her right. So I need to make this side darker. Scares me. Doesn't take much though. And I need to just fill in. Okay, this bit here is so much blacker than how I've left it. I don't know what I'm going to do next week, whether I focus on ears or profile. I'm not sure. I'm not quite ready to tackle a full face yet. I kind of feel like there's still aspects to it that need to be given attention. Okay, that's probably that eyeball done. I think I'm kind of getting there. Feel like I am. Whoops. Bang the camera. Okay. Right. I'm thinking that I am going to. Why is that bit there white? God knows. I'm going to get on with the eyelashes now. So I think for the purpose of the exercise, I've done an all right job. Does it look like hers? I don't know, it's a bit hard to tell because I haven't put the eyebrows in yet. Okay, so I'm going to go for, I might go the 5B for doing eyelashes and eyebrows. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure I've done dark enough for those areas. Can't remember what I used for them now. Was it a 2B? This is the 4B that I've just picked up again. There's no real secret to doing the eyelashes and eyebrows apart from the fact that you leave them to the last. That's only the real thing. Again, it just comes down to actually looking at what you're drawing. Don't think you're drawing eyelashes. Look at the shape and the direction that these eyelashes move to. You've got that little layer of skin in between the eyelashes and the actual eyeball or the white of the eye that you will leave blank. That does not have any hair on it. As for the top of the eye, you'll actually end up darkening an area and just adding little highlights of little tiny eyelashes. Now, the good thing about doing these, because it is a study, we do not have to be exact. So we do not have to recreate her eyelashes exactly. And her eyelashes do have mascara on them. So we could maybe even you don't have to know that she's got mascara on for the eyelashes, and same with the eyebrows. So yes, they're very groomed, they're very kept. She's plucked a few out from the center and a few out from the side here, but for the purpose of the exercise we do not have to get this exact. We're not doing a actual portrait of this girl. I don't even know her name, where she lives or anything. So just take your time with it and start with the non-dominant side so that you can move over and just add a few here and there and then just build on it. Just keep looking at your reference to see where they end up. She hasn't got many that are at the beginning of the center of her eyes. Not the center, the inner bit down the bottom there. Make sure you're using a sharp pencil. If you're only using one pencil, one weight, just give it a good sharpen. You need them to be really nice and sharp. Ooh, that was a bit of a random one. And the fact that I just did a random one out the side does not matter at all. No one is going to look at that and go, oh, well, that looks wrong. But again, just like I get frightened of going dark, you don't want to overdo it. So I'll probably leave it at that for the bottom lash. See how quick it happens. Now with these ones, I'll do it on here, you almost do a reverse tick. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Bring it up to there. So it's like a little hook, because you still got to have shape with the eye. So I'm not just starting this lash from here. I'm actually starting it down here and curling it round because we want this area to get darker as well. On this side, those little ticks are reversed and the little hook is going the other way. And then in the middle, it doesn't really matter. A few little short ones there just to bush it up. And again, I'm almost done. On that eye. Get those little reflections in the highlight of the eye. There we go. I'm not going to do too many more there. And that's that eye done. I'll get onto this eye and then I'll go up to the eyebrows. So same process, just keep looking at what's in front of you. I've got to really thicken this bit up. There's not so much in the middle of the eye again here. Once again, the highlights are in, the reflection is in the highlight again. And I didn't put the 2B in on this one, so I'll just quickly add a little bit of shading here. And then a couple of it's really dark out the side here. Actually, I need to do a bit more shading in here. Now they're looking really drawn on, those eyelids, so I need to do something about that. I still need to darken this area here. It's looking too flat. And that will help those eyelashes blend in a bit more too. Just go a bit lighter. There we go. And the ones along the bottom here, very fine. I'm actually putting probably a bit more eyelash into the bottom, but it won't look silly. You won't even notice. Try and even it up with the other eye. And there we go. Okay. So I think I'll call that it for eyelashes. And then onto the eyebrows. It is exactly the same thing. Make sure you're looking at what is there, because little eyebrow hairs are going in little different directions. And just keep make sure you can see the skin underneath where it is on the drawing. Sorry, on the photo. 5B, yeah. For a minute then I thought I was back to the 2B. You won't see a lot of detail in the dark area. This is the easiest part of the drawing, but very easy to get it wrong as well by not looking at your drawing the whole time. And to be honest, because we're just doing a drawing of a study of the eyes and eyebrows, I could do completely different eyebrows on her and no one would know. So don't sweat the small things like this. All right, there we go. It's coming together. And then this side, just make sure that you get the outline where it's got to go in the same area. Might need to sharpen this pencil again. It's starting to feel a little bit blunt. The darker the lead you go, the softer it is. Okay, I've got to be careful that I don't go too dark and cover up all that skin that you can see through there. There we go. Now, I'm thinking I actually have to bring her eyebrow out a little bit more this way. Very easy to do. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to go back to the 2B and just put a bit of skin around that eyebrow there. I just looked up at the time on the actual YouTube clock, nearly 2 hours. So typical of me. And if I'm honest, I could literally turn the camera off and I could sit here for probably another half hour. But it's not the purpose of the exercise. It's so important to do these studies because you've got no connection to the person. You don't know who they are. You just you don't you're not involved with the person at all, and you might get to the stage where you will do a drawing of someone that you do know, and you're going to find that you will treat it very differently because there's emotion involved. It's kind of better to try and not know them, but with every drawing, every painting, you're drawing what's in front of you, not what you think is in front of you. We all know what a human face looks like. We all know what an eye looks like. But if I was to do this drawing without a reference, I can tell you right now there's no way it would look like the drawing that I'm doing. Even if I was drawing her, but just going on my knowledge and how many drawings I've done before, and if I didn't keep looking at the reference, it would not look like her. Just the shading would be out for starters. Okay, it looks really light there. I need to improve that because it's not. Still using the 2B, but this area here is actually lighter than the other eye, which cannot happen. Get darker, Mrs. Red. There we go. Oh, it still looks very drawn on now. Bit of cross hatching. We'll fix that. Okay, there we go. How's that? Getting there. That's better. All right. I think I will call it a night. I need to put my pencil down. Call it a night. call it a wrap. And yeah, like I said just before, I don't know what I will do next week, whether I'll focus on ears or profile. I don't think chins are really an interesting one. Before I tackle the full face. I've never drawn a face without a grid. Even when I've done paintings of portraits, I have done a grid and sketched up from a grid. So I would like to tackle a face from scratch with no grid, but that will be something that I will do over a few weeks, obviously. Can you imagine it? I'd be here for a full 24 hours. It was taking me 2 hours almost to do just these eyes. Okay, time to put the pencils down. I'll reveal the other guy now as well. So there we go. Oh gosh, she looks really black in. I'm going to hold it up. Is it going to get better? Just gets very dark. Very, very lots of texture. Oh, that looks kind of freaky, doesn't it? Da, 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 da. All right. Okay, I shall just whip the camera back over to myself so that you know I'm still here. There we go. There we go. I wonder if I held it up to that, it would. Yeah, that looks different again. The flickering is the candle. I've got a candle sitting in front. Oh, but looks good though. Happy with them. Very happy with them. Okay, so Kelly and anyone else who's watching, make sure that you do show me what you've been up to. You can either put them on the Facebook posts. I don't think you can attach to Instagram unless you do a DM. Email. I don't think you can comment with a picture on YouTube. So it will have to be one of those. Oh, hang on. I just realised that she's cutting me out here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, but I would love to see what everyone is doing and how you're going with your drawing as well. It'd just be great for feedback to know that I know I'm not sitting here drawing alone. I know that other people are watching it. But I mean, the whole reason for this is for me to sit down and draw, and I really look forward to these Thursday nights. I just can't believe how slow I am 25 years on from when I was drawing every day, every week, every month when I was a uni student. So I will get quicker, of course I will. And until next week, keep drawing. Do some more little studies. If you're not on the database, it's in the description. Subscribe to the website because you will get these little printouts that I do. You'll get that in the email so that you can print it out or blow it up on your iPad, one of the two, and be able to follow along. Good referencing. All right, thanks very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your night. Night-night.